Hello viewers, it's good to see you again in our daily bulletin, and following are the headlines as usual. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi pays official visit to Vietnam. Vietnam's coffee exports is expected to hit 1.5 million tons this year. Shooter Hoàng Xuân Vinh is ranked first in women's 10-meter air pistol event. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid an official visit to Vietnam from September 2nd to 3rd, aiming to boost relations with Vietnam. The visit is made at the invitation of Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc. It is expected to strengthen the friendship between the two nations. This is the first visit to Vietnam by Mr. Modi as Prime Minister, and it is also the first official visit to Vietnam by an Indian Prime Minister in the last 15 years. India is one of the 10 biggest trade partners of Vietnam. Two-way trade between the two countries hit more than $5 billion last year. It is expected to reach $15 billion by 2020. Indian investment in Vietnam increased 3 times to reach about $570 million in 2015 from $200 million in 2007. Following the welcome ceremony on September 3rd, Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc and his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi held talks. They agreed to elevate the country's current strategic partnership to comprehensive strategic partnership. They rejoiced at the development of bilateral relations, especially since the strategic partnership was set up in 2007. They said the upgrade of bilateral ties is to meet the aspirations of the two countries' leaders and peoples, and to be in conformity with both sides' fundamental and long-term interests, as well as their willingness to contribute to peace, stability, cooperation, and development in the region and the world. The two leaders agreed to enhance political and diplomatic cooperation through increasing visits at all levels and exchanges between their parties, parliaments, and peoples. They considered security defense cooperation as one of the important pillars of the comprehensive strategic partnership. They agreed to request related ministries and agencies on both sides to explore substantive and practical measures to achieve the trade target of $15 billion by 2020. Both sides reiterated their desire and determination to work together to maintain peace, stability, growth, and prosperity in Asia and beyond. Following the talks, the two prime ministers witnessed the signing of 12 cooperation agreements between the two sides. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was received by Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng on the same day. He told his host that comprehensive strategic partnership between Vietnam and India will be a new driving force for the two countries' development. He affirmed Vietnam is an important pillar of India's Act East policy. General Secretary Trọng congratulated the Indian people on the achievements they have gained during the process of national construction and development. He reaffirmed Vietnam's support for India's Act East policy and welcomed a greater role for India in the regional and international arena. He urged the two countries to carry out activities to celebrate the 45th anniversary of bilateral diplomatic ties and the 10th anniversary of strategic partnership. During his meeting with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Trần Đại Quang affirmed Vietnam's consistent policy of attaching importance to the traditional friendship and strategic partnership with India. He proposed Vietnam and India further enhance ties in defense and make trade and investment ties deserve the role as an important polar in strategic partnership between the two countries. He said Vietnam encourages India's oil and gas companies to expand their cooperation in projects in Vietnam, India, and a third country. The Indian Prime Minister said in its Act East policy, India values Vietnam's role Together with collaboration in defense, security and space technology, the two sides should expand ties in economics and create a level playing field for both Vietnamese and Indian businesses. During the meeting later the same day, Chairwoman of the National Assembly Nguyễn Thị Kim Ngân spoke highly of the talks between the two prime ministers, especially their agreement to elevate the Vietnam-India ties to comprehensive strategic partnership. She affirmed that the Vietnamese Parliament supports and pledges to facilitate the implementation of the agreements signed between the two countries. Indian Prime Minister Modi expressed his wish that the legislative bodies of both countries will increase their work together, including exchanging visits by delegations and sharing experiences. The same day, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi married monks and nuns studying at the Vietnam Buddhist Academy in Hanoi. Most Venerable Thích Thiện Nhân, President of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha Executive Council, said Indian monks were the first to introduce Buddhism to Vietnam via marine trade routes, creating cultural links between the two nations. Buddhism has become an indispensable component of Vietnam's culture over the past 2,000 years. The Indian Prime Minister told monks and nuns that the world needs peace, and pursuing peace will bring happiness for all. He stressed that Buddhism brings hopes, lights, beliefs and peace, and expressed his hopes to welcome more Vietnamese monks and nuns to study Buddhism in India. Vietnam's coffee exports may hit 1.5 million tons and bring home $3 billion this year. More details coming up next. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development revealed that coffee exports reached 1.27 million tons, worth $2.25 billion in the first 8 months of 2016, a year-on-year surge of 40% in volume and 20.7% in value. Despite the rise, Vietnam mainly exports raw coffee materials with low value on the international market. Poor food safety in many coffee processing units also affected the coffee quality. The Vietnam Coffee and Cocoa Association requested localities to tighten food safety management in coffee roasting, grinding and processing units nationwide to increase the quality of exported coffee. Low-cost carrier Vietjet Air has announced the opening of 2 international routes connecting Hanoi and Taipei and Ho Chi Minh City and Kaohsiung, Taiwan, as part of its network expansion plan. Tickets are now available for Hanoi, Taipei and Ho Chi Minh City, Kaohsiung, with prices only from 310,000 Vietnam dong, $14 and from 210,000 Vietnam dong, $9 respectively. The Hanoi-Taipei route will be operated on a daily basis from October 30th, 2016, with a flight time of 2 hours 45 minutes per leg. The flight takes off from Hanoi at 14:15 and lands in Taipei at 18 local time. The return flight will depart at 19:10 and arrives in Hanoi at 20:55 local time. Meanwhile, the Ho Chi Minh City Kaohsiung route will be launched on December 12, 2016, with 5 return flights a week on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. The flight, which lasts 3 hours 30 minutes per leg, departs from Ho Chi Minh City at 2:10 and lands in Kaohsiung at 6:30 local time. The return flight takes off at 8:15 and lands in Ho Chi Minh City at 10:45 local time. Fishermen brought ashore 2 million tons of seafood in the first 8 months of 2016, up 1.1% over the same period last year, thanks to favorable weather and stable fuel price. According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, combined tuna catches of 3 major tuna fishing hubs of Phú Yên, Khánh Hòa and Bình Định so far this year were over 14,000 tons. Phú Yên fishing fleet caught 3,681 tons of tuna.
a decrease of 6.5% year-on-year, while Kainhua accounted for over 3,000 tons, down 5%, and Bingding 7,289 tons, a rise of 6%. However, the drop in offshore tuna catch is normal for the season, coupled with the current low tuna price. Meanwhile, our culture output in August was estimated at 338,000 tons, a slight increase of 0.3% year-on-year, pushing the figure for the first 8 months of this year to 2.3 million tons, up 1.2% over the same period last year, the ministry reported. Notably, shellfish farming has shrunk due to difficulties in market and price. The area of shellfish raising ponds in the Mekong Delta region was down 2.6% year-on-year to 4,505 hectares, but output still grew 4.4% to reach 741,071 tons, thanks to a high yield in some localities. Shrimp farming areas were also expanded due to favorable weather conditions. Mekong Delta localities' wildlife shrimp farming areas were 55,254 hectares, a rise of 17.3% year-on-year, with an output of more than 107,000 tons, while the area of black tiger shrimp farms was 561,504 hectares, up 2.1%, producing nearly 136,000 tons.
Farmers in the Mekong Delta water have planted rice on 497,000 hectares in the autumn-winter crop, 24,000 hectares more from the same period last year.
As of mid-August, over 1.36 million hectares across the country were planted with rice for the traditional wet season crop, or 99.7% of the same period last year. Most of the area is in the north, with 1.14 million hectares. The fall in wet season rice crop acreage is attributed to unfavorable weather, with floods and storms having damaged nearly 15,000 hectares. Meanwhile, the acreage of summer-autumn rice crop this year remained the same as last year, at over 2 million hectares, with more than 1.66 million hectares in the Mekong Delta. Southern provinces have harvested around 980,000 hectares of this rice crop, with an average yield of 5.7 tons per hectare. The acreage under other food crops, such as sweet potato, cassava, and maize, exceeded 1.5 million hectares nationwide, a year-on-year drop of 2.5%. The agricultural sector urged farmers in the north to replace flood-damaged rice areas with other food crops.
Olympic Rio 2016 gold medalist Hoàng Xuân Vinh is ranked first in the World Men's 10-meter air pistol event. The ranking is given by the International Sport Shooting Federation. The Vietnamese marksman reached his highest position following his success at the Olympic Games, where he won a gold medal and set a new world record. Previously, he was ranked 6th, with Brazilian Felipe Almeida at the top of the rankings. The Brazilian finished second behind Vinh at the Rio event and is currently also second in the world ranking. In the men's 50-meter pistol pool, Vinh jumped 18 places up to number 2nd thanks to his Olympic silver. The top spot went to Republic of Korea Jin Jong-woo, who triumphed in Rio. And that's all we have for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.